Hey, this is Weisfeld. Today we're going to go over some data crunching from the Toy Car Lab in Google Sheets. So if you could sign in to your Google Drive here or your Gmail, launch the browser, get signed in, get so you can get to your drive. Hey, as we're going along, if I'm going too fast, you might want to pause it, and I'll try and go pretty slow, but we'll just keep moving, okay? So I click on Drive, and it takes me to this page. I was already there, but you know that if your drive gets complicated, you can star things. I meant to click here on starred. So we want to go to the class view 7th period. This is the one that everybody in my class should see, and if you can't see it, then we have a problem. So class view 7th period. I've got the textbook in there, 3 chapters. We're on chapter 3. I've got a PowerPoint that we did on the 12th of September. I've got the outline for the course. I haven't updated that in the past couple days, but anyway, I have some answer keys to some homework. I've got a blank homework assignment just in case. There was a getting to know you assignment. Graphical analysis of motion. Oh, that was a handout we did. There's another PowerPoint. This is a selection of stuff that we did from Physics for Dummies on vectors. Problem 58, page 50. Okay, some homework. There's if you download this, you get the emulated calculator. And then there's the Toy Car Lab write-up. This is the original, right? You have a copy in your own drive. This is the one that we're all sharing. So now let's go to the Toy Lab data spreadsheet. If you go there, it's the shared copy. So we want to make a copy. So let's go like this. File, make a copy. And it's going to be the copy of the Toy Lab data spreadsheet. And let's change the name to maybe video copy. And I'm not going to share that with you because that's going to be my copy, so I'm going to hit OK. And where that thing winds up, normally, if you go back to your Google Drive, if you go to your drive, just the top level, notice I clicked here on my drive, scroll down if you have to, you should be able to see copy of the Toy Lab data spreadsheet. So it should show up there. You can drag that wherever you like. If you could drag that to someplace next to your lab write-up, that'd be cool so we can see it. Alright, so let's open that up and let's take a look. It has got the following. It has got this first sheet. This was the sheet that I gave you a few days ago. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one. So can you go to this next tab and the raw data tab. So here's what we've got set up. I'm going to walk you through. I've got a bunch of data here. Let me see if I can get this so you can see it. I've written some data down. It's the measurement number and then how the distance between that one measurement and the other measurement. So for instance, when I drew a line on my tape at 0, I then drew a line when I counted out 10 dots or 6 dots, whichever you decided to do for your lab is fine. And then I measured the distance between the 0 line and the first line, and that's what's right here. And then I measured the distance between the 1 line and the 2 line, and that's this distance right here. Okay, so your results may vary, but that's kind of what I got. And I got this by using one of these rulers that we had in class. The rulers that we had in class, let me see if I can get this up here pretty good so you can see it. Notice that it's got 0, tiny, tiny mark, 8, 16, 24, 1. That's in 30 seconds of an inch. So 30 seconds of an inch is pretty tiny, but it's good. And you can write and take data in that. That's fine too. That's what I did right here. So for instance, I said 8 30 seconds, 15 30 seconds, 24 30 seconds. And notice the measurement 5 is 1 and 13 30 seconds. That just means 1 plus 13 30 seconds. That's carpentry, or that's measurement. We can do that. What we'll do is we'll convert it to centimeters. So hang with me here, okay? So first let's tell people enter in A1. So when you're working with a spreadsheet, Google Sheet, every row has a number. Every column has a letter. So here's column A. Here's row 1. So A1 is the cell at A column row 1. Fine. And it says here, enter in A1 the number of dots you counted between measurements. So I made a bunch of dots on a piece of tape, right? I even have my version right here. So here's my piece of my measurement here. So I counted a certain number of dots between each measurement that I took. It's not going to get that very good. Anyway, turns out I counted 10 dots. Every 10 dots I drew a line. So I'm going to put a 10 there and that. That now is going to adjust what my, did you see it? It recalculated really fast. So all of these here are basically the time. So when I drew my line, I call that 0 time. Then 10 dots away is 10 dots is 10/1/60ths of a second. And so that means my time is 10 times 1 divided by 60 seconds. And you should see that that's actually true. In a spreadsheet, you can always do this. If you want to do something really quick, you go like this. 10 divided by 60. But that won't work. Let's go over this real quick. When you're typing in numbers that you want a spreadsheet to calculate, you have to do this. You have to go equals 10 divided by 60. And that will give you 0.1666666 blah, 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 blah. So that's 0.167. So that's the number that's right here. It's basically A4. So the first interval of 10 dots we're calling, or wait, that first line after the 0 line occurred at 0.17 seconds. The second measurement line that we drew, so we counted another 10 dots, it's at 0.33 seconds. Pause the video right here. If you got a question, we're not going on. Make me come over and explain it to you. Or talk to a neighbor. Someone sitting next to you. Alright. By the way, when you want to erase something from a spreadsheet, you just click on it, hit delete. Alright, so enter A1. Good. Make sure your time looks reasonable. It's going to go all the way up. If you need more columns or rows, I can show you how to do that, or you can figure it out. Here we go. Raw data. So measurement 0 is 0, 0, 0. That first line you draw, that's what you're calling your 0 time. We're assuming that that's like your that's your origin in time and space. Then measurement 1. Measurement 1 I got at 8/32 of an inch. So that was the distance between my 0 measurement and my first measurement. So that's 1/4. Cool. My second measurement was 15/32. So 15/32 of an inch was my second line. So that's my 20th odds. Notice what's happening here. The spreadsheet is doing some stuff over here. We're going to get to that. Just type in your numbers right now. So 15/32. This is 24/32. I have to do this funny thing. I type an equal sign, but it doesn't really turn into like I'm ready to do a calculation right away. Okay, there we go. It needs to have that little kind of under caret there or something, underbar or whatever. So 24/32. I'm at number 3. This is 24/32. So what we want to do today is make sure that we can get your data in there and you agree that your data is in there correctly. So 34/32. Oh, notice 34/32 is 1 inch and 2/32. We're cool with that. Number 5, I had 1 inch. This is 1 inch plus 13/32. And then I had 1 inch plus 28/32. Alright, so what you're seeing is, just focus on this column, column B. I'm putting in my data. I'm putting the distance between each line of that I drew at every 10th dot. Alright, I'm on number 7. This was 2 inches plus 15/32. This was 3 inches. Plus 5, 30 seconds. If you work with partners, hey, make them watch you or make them read the numbers out to you so that you get it. And then make somebody else check to make sure you typed in the right thing. And this one was 3, 3, and 26, 30 seconds. All right. So that's this column, the change in distance. That's the change in distance between measurement 0 and measurement 1. It's not the total distance traveled at a certain time. So what you have to do is do some magic over here. Check this out. So here's why we're using a Google Sheet right now. I'm going to tell you. Are you listening? I'm on this cell. I'm at C3. C3 says take C2 and add it to B3. So take the distance that I traveled so far, or the distance I traveled a little while ago, or up till, so the distance I traveled at the previous time, total distance, plus the distance I just traveled. So this distance plus that distance is 0.25. Maybe this makes more sense. For the second measurement, I had gone 0.25 total, and then I added a little bit on. And so all of these formulas, notice if you set up your table right, there's a pattern. The pattern is basically every cell in the total distance is how far you did total distance at the last time plus whatever you added at this time interval. We could probably draw this out, or we can scribble this. So if you don't understand this, raise your hand. Let me come around and talk to you, or we'll talk to everyone all at once. So what you should have is at the end of 9 intervals. So on your 9th line that you drew 0. Okay, so the 10th line. But anyway, the 9th line you measured, you had gone 15 total inches. So you could take a tape measure and you could measure that. Just right now, you could take your tape. The 9th line I drew was at 15 and some measurement. So that's cool. But that's inches. So now check this out. Here's another really cool thing with spreadsheets, right? If that's inches, let's just convert it to centimeters. So I want to know after 9 intervals, I went 15.25 inches or 38.735 centimeters. And how did I get that? I get that with this formula here. You take your inches and you multiply by 2.54 because every inch is 2.54 centimeters. So we just converted everything here from inches to centimeters. So this column is basically in centimeters. It's very important in life and in spreadsheets to label your columns so you know what you're talking about. So let's go over this one more time. This is my measurement number. That's what line I drew on my tape. The first line I drew was 0, and then I drew 1. That was at and I counted so many dots in between. This is the distance between the lines. This is the total distance. That's the cumulative distance from the 0 line all the way up. We don't measure from the 0 line all the way out because it's going to get pretty long, 15 inches. We would rather focus on the distance between any given 10 or 6 dots. Ooh, I lost one. If you lose one, it's fine. Just go like this. This formula here is take this number here and multiply. Sorry, I'm pointing with my finger. This formula says take this number here and multiply by 2.54. If anything ever gets deleted, just go Control C, Control V, paste it in there. Then what's this one doing? Aha! I somehow copied the same formula twice. So here's what we do. Control C. You can also copy formulas down a whole row. There we go. So that basically says take every inch measurement at each time, take each inch measurement each time, multiply by 2.54. Now let's go back to this spreadsheet. Can you go to the spreadsheet that's 2014-09-17? In there what you've got is the time that we calculated before in seconds, and then this is the total distance in centimeters. So take a look at this real quick. This formula says I'm going from the raw data spreadsheet and I'm taking the E3 point. That's just a way of saying that number that I had on this other spreadsheet, pull it over. So here's E3. Actually, let me do it for E1. Total distance traveled equals the total distance in centimeters after my first measurement is back here on this spreadsheet. It's actually this right there. And you press enter. So that's raw data, that other spreadsheet. Grab exclamation point, like, okay, you're going to grab a certain cell, so the E2 cell, and this is E3. So be watching this number right here as I go down with my, it's E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8. These are basically all the numbers from the previous spreadsheet. They're put here so that I can treat them individually. So that's the total distance traveled in a certain amount of time. All right. That's distance. We're all good. Everything should be cool. Why don't we stop here? I'll save this video and then we'll talk about velocity in a second. So let me say I'm done. Thanks for listening.